It was an incredibly nippy morning for downtown Los Angeles just this past Monday, March 19th, as I walked from my car to the Clara Shortridge Falls Criminal Justice Center. I remember regretting that I wasn't wearing my fur coat. As Kelly Soo Park and her entourage, along with her defense attorneys, the district attorneys, and this writer, waited in the courtroom of Department 109 just before 9 a.m., I could hear the court clerk explaining to someone that it's always freezing in this courtroom on Monday mornings. Well, it was colder still due to the frigid outside air, in my opinion. Kelly Sue, in her usual and customary black pants, this day wearing alligator checked flat shoes, still had on her long off white trench coat with a multicolored lightweight wool scarf wrapped around her neck. She was at the center aisle end of the bench in the third row, ready to be called. Her beautiful long black hair fell below her shoulders with its usual silky and shiny luster. Ms. Park is still in the pretrial discovery phase of her case as she waits trial for the March 15th, 2008 murder of aspiring model and actress Juliana Redding. It is believed by the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office that she was the hit woman who carried out a murder for hire for orthopedic surgeon and major workers' compensation fraudster Dr. Munir Ueda, who fled the country upon Kelly Soo Park's arrest in June of 2010. She is now out of custody on a $3.5 million bond. Judge Kathleen Kennedy walked away from the clerk's desk and up to her bench with her robe almost hanging off of her shoulders. At first glance, I didn't even think she had it on. Then she said, without even saying good morning, "Kelly Park?" Kelly Sue then obediently stepped forward to join her two attorneys, Elena Klimianok and Stephen Bernard, at the defendant's end of the table. Alan Jackson and Eric Harmon, the two deputy district attorneys prosecuting this case, were already at the right side of the table from the audience's perspective. Kathleen Kennedy began. "Have you guys worked any of this out?" She was talking about the discovery issues, which have been a huge bone of contention between the defense and the district attorneys for months now. Defense counsel Stephen Bernard said, "We have 3 motions to compel, 5 items. They've given us number 2, the pillow." Then a little later in his speech, he stated, "We're asking for the protocol from the LAPD for collection of evidence for storage. We would like to have those. They're on following how they collected evidence at the crime scene." Stephen Bernard also wants the photographs of the candles that were found inside Juliana Redding's apartment at the crime scene. According to police reports, the stove gas was left on in the kitchen of the apartment with a candle lit in the living room area on a coffee table, in a conjectured attempt to cause an explosion that would destroy the evidence. Eric Harmon then said, "The protocols are not relevant. If a forensic expert didn't follow protocol, it has no bearing on the results." Then Alan Jackson piped in with, "I spoke to the detective and it's a binder yay thick." The detective he's referring to is most likely Karen Thompson of the Santa Monica Police Department. Now Judge Kathleen Kennedy started expressing herself with noticeable anger. She's really getting mad. In fact, she's pissed. She almost yelled, "I think you should turn it over. How would that apply is irrelevant." Stephen Bernard responded, "We're only looking for that narrow protocol for collection, preservation, and storage." And another one was the pink washcloth. The DA says it wasn't tested. He says he'll get it tested. And then there was a sexual assault test kit. Then they get into quite a to-do about the pink washcloth. According to DA Eric Harmon, the police didn't have the pink washcloth tested because they didn't think it was worth anything forensically as evidence. Then the defense asked for it, as they wanted to test it. So the DA then wanted to test it. And the judge just keeps yelling at the DAs and yelling at them. She's really reaming them. She says during this time, it may be that all this leads to nothing, but who knows? But turn it over. I'm asking it turned over. It's discoverable. Eric Harmon says, if we can come back in a few weeks, I'll have the best idea of when I'll have the material. Kathleen Kennedy says, now that they want it, you want to test it. Eric Harmon replies, the pink washcloth, we had it evaluated. We had to scramble. Then somebody's cell phone starts ringing in the courtroom, or what sounds like a cell phone. The judge is now angrier than ever. She calls out to the people in the audience to turn off that darn cell phone. Kelly Soo Park pipes up from the defense table and says it's hers and that she can't turn it off. She runs back to the audience seats next to a woman I believe is her mother and grabs the device out of her purse, or someone's purse. The judge then angrily asks her why she can't turn it off, and that if she can't turn it off, she should never bring it into the courtroom in the first place. She should just leave it in her car. And the judge rants more and more. Then Kelly Soo explains finally that it's her tracking device. She can't turn it off. It's the tracking device. Probably the device she needs to stay close to her ankle bracelet. Something has set it off. Judge Kennedy then realizes she's flown off the handle about the cell phone, or a supposed cell phone, for nothing, and she calms down. I think she got embarrassed. The device continues to ring and ring and ring as Kelly Soo sits down with it at the defendant's table with no power to shut it off. Finally, after quite a while, it did finally stop ringing. But Judge Kennedy expresses that she wants this trial to start. She says, I want this to go to trial. She nearly yells. She asks the DAs how long they need to get ready for trial, and they reply 3 weeks. The defense states they need 5 to 6 weeks. Eric Harmon explains in a very calm voice, in our view, Your Honor, we have diligently complied with discovery. They should have tested these things 6-7 months ago. Eric Harmon further expresses that Kelly Soo's prior counsel should have requested these things. Jennifer Keller and Kay Rakaukas represented Kelly Soo Park up until last fall when they resigned over a $100,000 payment which came to them from Dr. Ueda's Frontline Medical, putting them in a conflict of interest. Then Judge Kathleen Kennedy says, prior counsel had a conflict. Obviously, we want this case to move forward and go to trial. I'd like to go to trial today. But there has to be a balance between the rights of the victim and the rights of the defense. But I don't want to do a fruitless act and then have the trial be disqualified. Stephen Bernard goes on. We got 830 pages of discovery in today. We want to evaluate the evidence. We started just a short time ago. We've gotten thousands and thousands of pieces of evidence. How can we proceed? We are waiting to get the evidence that we are entitled to. Eric Harmon then just changes the subject. May the victim's family speak? I then looked again to check out the readings. Eric Harmon had already said twice before that the victim's parents were there in the courtroom, but the judge had just let it blow by her while she yelled at them about the discovery stuff. Patricia Redding was right there, with her brownish blonde hair partially pulled back. Her husband, Gregory Redding, the pharmacist who wouldn't do business with Dr. Ueda, sat close to his wife with his dark brown hair and very tanned complexion. They are a youthful appearing, very attractive couple who appear to be no older than in their late 40s. They both then stood up, and when the judge finally acknowledged them, walked up to the podium, which had been placed just before the audience seats facing the judge. Patricia is the one who spoke, while Greg Redding lovingly supported her by standing flush against her right side as he touched her back with his left hand. Patricia Redding spoke. It's been 4 years since Juliana's murder. We are here today to express our concerns. 21 months have passed. She meant since Kelly Soo Park's arrest. And for 4 years, our family has been shattered. She went on to explain that the defendant has been out of custody for over a year on a $3.5 million bond, at which time she could be with her family and share time with them, see them on holidays, and spend happiness with them, while she and her husband can never do that again with their beloved daughter, Juliana. Patricia Redding then clearly expressed, "We have the right to a speedy trial." She spoke well and she did not break down. She was emotional but calm and very dignified. Then the Reddings stepped away and the judge set the next court date to Monday, April 16th, 2012. She wants to get the ball rolling. She advised the attorneys that they will get full days of trial. They will start at 9 or 9:15 a.m. and go to 4:15 p.m. The cases go faster here, she said. Then she discussed how they have to do pre-screening of jurors for time qualifications, and both sides should think about having a witness list. I waited as long as I could outside the courthouse, hoping I could shoot a picture of the Reddings as they left through the exit. But nearly an hour went by after the end of the hearing, and they hadn't come out yet. It was bitterly cold, and I was feeling like I was in Chicago in the month of January, so I decided to move on and seek warmth. The Reddings were probably in an hours-long meeting with the district attorney's office. So, okay, that's the happening. Next court appearance for Kelly Soo Park is on Monday, April 16th, 2012 at 8:30 a.m. Hopefully this case will get to trial before the beginning of summer. I'm Lance Lamont for Adjustercom.